Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the Crypto Weekly Analysis Volume 22. Again, we're giving you an insight of what we're going to look into for next week and also compare our analysis from last week. So we're going to start off with Bitcoin. Now this has been a nice change of scenery. We've had a lot of price moves happening last week. And we've actually invalidated our analysis of what we thought was going to happen with Bitcoin. Now, does that mean we've completely missed out on our opportunity to buy? No, this is probably a perfect opportunity to not be a part of the coins right now, not to be a part of Bitcoin anyway in particular. So what my thoughts are right now, so now that we've broken this high, this has now become the invalidation point, so which we've seen right there. So we've seen price step up right now. We can get rid of this too. Now, one thing I always have mentioned is that, if you have watched our Forex videos, is that we have to anticipate what's happening around the highs that it breaks. We either will get a massive breakthrough and we'll see price strong and continuing to push higher, or two, we'll start to see price reject. Now, this is where it kind of gets a little bit confusing for people, because sometimes they don't really know when to get in because of FOMO. So like I said, my plan now for Bitcoin is probably not to be involved with this market, unfortunately. Like I said, hindsight is probably would have been the best time to get in here, but again, I was anticipating price to drop off lower, but it is what it is. So now my next perspective is probably have to drop towards the daily time frame right now. So what we could be looking at now is, if you really did want to be a part of this move towards the upside, what we could see happening is it's going to look a bit messy, but we can draw some scenarios for now. Okay, so what we could see is so one scenario that comes to my mind straight away is we'll get some sort of push up and then drop. Oh no, that's a bit too complex, right? I don't really use that. To simplify it, basically, we could get price to fall back into this area here to then create one more push up higher. Then from here, it's going to be quite tricky, because if we start to, because one or two things will happen. We'll either get a massive, there's going to be a huge drop that's going to come down, and then that will change the whole market sentiment for the rest of the year, I believe. Or not for the year, that's too extreme, but maybe for a few weeks at least, we'll start to see a much more aggressive push lower, or we'll start to see maybe just a little push lower and then more of those continuations higher. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll start to say, if you really do want to be a part of like a short-term kind of trade, not really looking to hold it too long, this could be part of this could be something that you're looking into trading, but not for too long, if that makes sense. The other thing is looking to take some selling opportunities, and I think a sell-off opportunity is very viable. I think it is worthy, but obviously not anytime soon. I think we need to have a look and still keep on following this market. If, for example, the market just completely breaks this low here at the 4,000 at the 40k mark, I think that would be very drastic, and I feel like that would be a very strong indicator that there's something going off here. So my alarm bells for a sell-off opportunity will be ringing. But again, like you already know, I am still expecting price to drop lower than 28k at some point, but it's not going to happen right now, because we've broken the new high. There is this anticipation that price still wants to move higher. So this is the option that I'm looking at, that if price wants to still move higher, we, as a short-term trader, you can still look for those buys. But again, I am still being aware that there is the possibility of price dropping lower and completely shattering this 28k market, and I think it will even go even further lower. So that's something that I'm just have got in my mind to just basically keep aware of. But do I think this is anytime soon? Probably not. I think, you know, you just have to read these warning signs as early as possible. So, you know, you've got, I mean, that's not really anything in particular, but you could use this as a, you know, as a bit of a warning. You know, this trend line here. Let me do it a bit thicker. Just a bit of a warning, but, you know, let's take a look at the divergence point. Oh gosh, okay, so this is, it doesn't really look too well. This is why one of the things that I was explaining, that, you know, there is divergence creeping massively here, and I wouldn't be surprised if price makes one more move, push higher, maybe a bit stronger, and then drops off completely. So these points that I've made before obviously were still valid, but again, it's just adding to the story of what's really been going on. And it's better in my eyes that, you know, as I was expecting price to drop lower, I was still going to, you know, not FOMO in and buy randomly. I was going to buy around here, you know, I would have obviously done, but as you can see, price has stepped up higher. There's still potential to make money, but it's just not going to be as big, if that makes sense. But anyway, we're still waiting for this drop to occur, so whether that happens, it happens. But for now, we could still expect much more of a bullish pressure coming into the market. So we just need to wait for price really to exhaust, push towards the upside, like so. So maybe we have a drop, and then we'll get one more push higher, and then we're going to wait for price to react, you know, when it makes a new high. Is it really going to continue? That's what we're trying to find out, and that's where, you know, price action knowledge and watching the news and looking at the fundamentals is going to help, because if we start to see one big candle drop, you better be thinking about, okay, something's off happening here, you know. So yeah, let's just keep that in perspective for next week. And yeah, let's move on and let's see how this has actually affected the other coins in relation to Bitcoin breaking its all-time high. Now, Ripple. So with Ripple, I didn't really expect too much. I didn't really see anything happen that much in comparison to Bitcoin pushing higher. Like I always said, there is always some kind of relevance with Bitcoin dominance. So usually, as I was saying before, if Bitcoin is pushing higher, then, you know, the other coins are likely to follow. But we really didn't see that happening. We started to see probably a bit more of a consolidation, a bit more restricted price action. But this kind of ultimately leads me into thinking that, yeah, price could still drop lower. So yeah, I'm still keen to think on that kind of basis. Again, we've had two scenarios that we expect price to drop off completely, or we'll get price to break the high and then drop off, but I think it's better to keep it on the daily basis. So yeah, I'm seeing if we can still break this low here, and if we can, then we should be convincingly pushing lower. But again, I can't see any bullish pressure kicking in from this for now anyway. But yeah, let's see what is to come next week. Cardano, again, it's massively been constricted. Let's check on a 4-hour what we've got on our analysis. So we had a triangle formation, break towards the upside, fake out, so we've extended it like so, and now there's a possibility of price breaking to the downside. So again, there could be more moves to the downside, or we could have a reversal push higher. It really depends on what's to come, really. I think, you know, one possible thing is like this, and then that drop. As you know, I am looking for this pair in particular to drop into the $1 range, and yeah, I could see this happening definitely. But again, it's up to the market if it wants to progress like that. Let's move on to Litecoin. So pretty much still been ranging within this 7.5k range. Essentially, we're trying to see if we can break the downside still. So we're just pretty much looking at it like this. We've just pretty much pushed higher. If price starts to break this, I wouldn't be too worried, but it's just really dependent on how far we push higher. That's my only concern. Because we've only just ranged up a little bit, I'm not really too worried. You know, it could easily still push up higher and then drop lower. So again, we're still anticipating price to push lower here, so into the 3.5k range. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that pair. Ethereum's actually nearly made its new high, actually. So again, what were the other points that we had here? So we've got three. So we had the first scenario here where we get price to push up higher and then potentially drop off. There is a possibility that could still happen. So we could just leave that in for now, but it literally is on its last legs. And then if that does happen, then we'll be looking at price to head into a 1,700. The second scenario that we've got drawn is price to push on and continue to push higher, and then the third one is actually the possibility of price rejecting the all-time high and starts to sell off. So again, I'm probably will still leave these three on just for you guys, you know, to make sense of what could potentially happen. But because we're really on the top of the all-time high, there is a possibility that price can just break. Then we're going to be pretty much waiting on onto these two scenarios here, the last two scenarios, so the second and the third one. So the second one, essentially, if we start to see price move really strongly, then all we'll be doing is waiting for the continuation moves higher. But if we start to see in the third one where we start to see more aggressive sells or bearish pressure, there is likely that there's something going on with the sales side. So if we take a look at the divergence criteria, we can see that price is really just dropping off. There is no, you know, it's not really relevant. It's not really matching towards price action. Right now, there is possibly a clear indication that there is momentum lacking. So even if price does go up here, I'm going to be wary of taking any buys if I'm being honest. Like I said, my preferable target to take buys is at 1,700. So that's just something of my opinion. But like I said, my goals on crypto right now is probably just long-term holding, nothing intraday or scalping level. But again, something to look into. Dogecoin. Okay, Dogecoin. Okay, so this, you know, two scenarios really. Either we'll get a break towards the upside on this green zone, or we'll just get price to continue drop off. So last week, just pretty much ranged. Nothing too special here. I think we could still. I think it's fair to say that there's still possibility of price. Well, I think it is still viable that price could still push lower, but equally it could still push higher. So we really still have to wait on this pair. And then finally EGLD. So for this, we could see price actually stepping up. So there was a little price break at one point, but you know, like I said, there is this possibility of price pushing up higher. So whether that now, let's just get rid of this. So what we have to do now is to see if price is now willing to break this high, the all-time high, and if so, are we going to see price rapidly push higher, or are we going to see some sort of rejection? And again, it's going to be on the basis of waiting for price to show its cards, and you know, really don't have to. We don't have to. You know, we don't have to guess this. We just pretty much go with the flow of it, really. So we'll either get price to push up, and then in this case we'll get a continuation, or we can get rid of this one actually, like here. Or we'll see price, you know, start to reject and then push lower. So again, that's something that you can potentially look into, but equally, it's just a matter of what's going to happen really. And like I said, I wouldn't be getting involved with this market if you're a long-term trader. Like I said, if you're a short-term trader, like how we trade Forex pairs, then yeah, there's multiple opportunities within this. I guess it really depends if you're willing to be involved in this market. So for me personally, I'm looking at holding it for as long as possible. So in that case, then I'm going to be looking at things from a very longer term perspective. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense. So yeah, so we'll either see one or two scenarios, and then on the slightest bit of luck, if price starts to reject this button, doesn't actually break higher, then there is that possibility still of price dropping lower. So I will keep that there. Nothing, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, one scenario is definitely going to happen than the other. It's just, you know, the three things that could happen, and it's your job to look into the market and to see which one of those three do you think is unfolding. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for this week for the crypto analysis. Bitcoin has surprised me this week, well, last week, in breaking its all-time high. It's quite weird that it didn't really have that much effect on the other coins as much as I would have thought. But obviously that's something that we can move forward with. I guess in their own individual pairs, they're starting to now, you know, maybe it's starting to take place that that maybe Bitcoin dominance is not necessarily that much of a thing anymore. Maybe because it's been quite known in the media and a lot of people are getting involved. You know, that's one argument, I guess. But yeah, let's just see what happens next week, I guess. And you know, hopefully, if we start to see anything major happen, I think I've pretty much covered it in this video for you guys, so that you are aware. So yeah, guys, that would be all from us. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I do appreciate your time for listening. Make sure you are subscribed, and if you did get any value, give this video a like. We do have a trading group that you can join, but that is only for Forex. That link is in the description. If you'd like to join that, feel free to message me and I'll send you the information over. So guys, that will be all from us. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in our next week's video.